we've already went over the drinking and driving, DUIs. We got that part, but we also have another thing that comes around during the holiday season, and it really hits us hard. Just within the last week, we've had a couple suicide ideations throughout the MAC, and it's one of those that is on the rise. You know, simple things of whether it's you feel like you're being picked on, or you just have a lot of things going on and people just aren't getting you. The next two speakers that we have coming up, Mr. Jim Greer, as you can see, he's got a website that he does support for suicide awareness. If you have issues, I'm not saying you have to go to Mr. Greer, but there is a support network out here in San Diego. You can Google anything. We all know about Military One Source. We all know about de-stress, but I think we also have a problem using those because we think that it ties into the military and that somebody's going to find out. It's going to be a big issue. So, speak about this. But we also have Mr. Jim Greer, who's going to speak to us, and Miss Jennifer Riker, sorry. But they're going to come give their personal stories about suicide. We all get into the mode of, oh, I got to do my suicide awareness. We used to get the lecture by the chaplain. Same lecture, right? How many people has suicide affected in the audience? You know somebody, you have a family member, something like that. So it hit home, right? Okay, we went to the impersonal part of doing it online. So now you can just click through it and damn, I'm done, right? So we want to put a face with it, and we want to have a little bit of a bond with somebody so that they can share their story. So please help me welcome Mr. Jim Greer.
Great. Thank you, Staff Sergeant Audier, for the introduction. Good morning. How's everybody doing? Good. I'd like to start this morning, first of all, by saying that not only am I fortunate and blessed to physically be standing here in front of you today, because as you do know, I am a survivor of a suicide attempt, but I'm also very humbled and I'm very honored that I've been asked to share my story with those of you here today representing the United States Marine Corps. You volunteer to put your lives on the line day in and day out, not only to protect the freedom of our country, but to protect my freedom. And for that, I just want to take this opportunity, because I don't get this that often, to personally say thank you to each and every one of you for the sacrifices that you make day in and day out. I truly do appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. But once again, my name is Jim Greer, and I'm the founder and the director of UMTR to Me. UMTR to Me simply stands for the phrase, "You matter to me." And it's a phrase that's so easy to say, yet not said often enough. UMTR to Me is an initiative that was created using my personal experiences with mental illness and a failed attempt at suicide to share with others how I found a successful life through an unsuccessful suicide. You see, if I had been told 23 years ago that one day I would launch an initiative with a vision to help others that are struggling with mental illness or thoughts of suicide find hope, purpose, and joy in their life, I wouldn't have believed it, especially given the state that my life was in at the time. But here I am 23 years later, and I'm very fortunate to say that my greatest failure in life has become my greatest success. Now, before I get into my story, I would like to disclose just a few statistics. The CDC reported, and that's the Center for Disease Control, reported in 2010 that there were 38,364 deaths that occurred in the United States as a result of suicide. Now, since the year 2000, that rate has steadily been increasing year by year, with the year 2010 having the highest incident rate of suicide since 1993. But here's what's even more alarming. The VA reports that 18 veterans take their life by suicide, not annually, weekly, or monthly, but daily. So that means 18 veterans of our United States Armed Forces will take their life today at some point. As a matter of fact, every 15 minutes, someone in the United States alone will take their life by suicide. So before I'm even done sharing my story with you, 2 more people will have died. Now it's possible, I saw some hands in the audience, it's possible that some of you know somebody who's already taken their life by suicide, or maybe you yourself are at that place right now. On March 23rd, 1988, I almost became that 15th minute suicide. You see, when I was 19 years old and a senior in high school, I was at one of the lowest points of my life. I was trying to find a way out of being the disappointment that I had felt that I had been to my friends, to my family, to myself, and especially to God. I wasn't crying out for help, and I certainly wasn't looking for any attention. All I was looking for was a way out of the pain that I had felt for nearly 19 years of my life. And for me, the only way out of that pain was to take my life by suicide. My father was a staff sergeant in the United States Army, and he served in the Vietnam War with the 1st Infantry Division, also referred to as the Big Red One. Now, I'm sure you can imagine that being the son of a military man, he had very high expectations for me in just about everything that I did. And that also caused me at a young age to have pretty high unachievable expectations for myself. You guys know what the military lifestyle is like, so when I touch on that briefly, I don't have to go into detail. You know what I'm talking about. Now, the one thing, repeating myself, the one thing I never seemed to do very well at when I was struggling younger was my schooling. As a matter of fact, that was probably one of my largest obstacles growing up, and I'm talking all the way back from the 3rd grade up into my senior year in high school when I was still taking fundamentals of math courses. As a matter of fact, while I was in the 8th grade, I was enrolled to take the Sanford Achievement Test. And what that did is that basically compared my basic math and English skill set to other peers of mine across the nation to kind of see where you were at. And in the 8th grade, my math skills were at a 4th grade level, while my English was at the 8th or 9th, which was pretty average, but it was the math that was the kicker. My parents used to always tell me that the reason that I wasn't doing well in school was just because I didn't want to do well. I wasn't applying myself. I chose not to get good grades. But they actually couldn't have been any further from the truth, because I did want to do well in school. I just couldn't seem to make it happen. I mean, I don't know anybody in life who really wants to fail, and what kid wants to come home worrying that he's going to get, beat from his parents because he's got D's and F's in his grade. I don't know any kid that really looks forward to seeing that happen. My dad was constantly threatening me that if I didn't get good grades in school and it resulted in me failing, that my friends were going to be there to point the finger at me and laugh and make fun of me. And I really just believed that was his kind of military way of trying to motivate me to do well in school and apply myself, because he didn't think I was. But we never had to worry about whether I was going to fail, because no matter how bad my grades got, my teachers would promote me to the next grade. And I'm not talking like a semester there was a D, a D minus. I'm talking an entire year, math, nothing but D's and F's.